Even if there were a button that made the humans I hate die, I wouldn't be able to push it. But if it was a button that made the humans who hate me die, I would push it without hesitation. Junpei is a depressed guy with a low value on human life after his own bad experiences, but he's not a bad guy, just a vulnerable one. He's currently 17 and attending high school, but right now he's skipping school to go to the movies. His bullies are also in the theater doing the average 0 IQ things school bullies usually do, as he thinks about what happened with them in the past. He was just minding his business like an introvert does, right? But these dicks decided to beat him up for allegedly looking at their girl because they want to gain favors with her. Sex. And he's just done with it. So he decides to stand up for himself and says she's not actually that cute and he wasn't watching her. Beating the allegations, however, being beaten in the process. Suddenly a man with white hair and stitches all over his face shows up, puts his hands on them and twists their skulls into crazy shapes. At first Junpei is shocked, but he soon goes after him like Sonic. When the man notices Junpei, he expects him to be mad, but Junpei goes, "Can I do the same?" Oh no. This man reveals himself as Mahito and leads him to his lair. Oh no. And tells Junpei about what kind of a curse he is. He's the fear of other humans, the boogeyman of humanity, so to say. This is bad news. You do not want to be listening to the fear of manipulation in human form. But Junpei doesn't feel scared, as his biggest fear is what Mahito represents, humans, so he thinks they understand each other. To emphasize how bad this news is, Mahito shows off his experiments on how big and small he can make humans, but Junpei isn't fazed. Junpei believes that apathy is what people should strive for, and he clings to this idea very dearly as a coping mechanism. He believes most people are evil, so he doesn't want to get involved with them, but he doesn't want to hate them either. He's just indifferent. These people were probably bad, so why would he care? He doesn't even care about murder, as long as they're not close to him. His mom dying is the only thing that would upset him. Not a very smart idea to tell Mahito about that, but then feeds him dangerous thoughts about how life doesn't matter, and souls just exist there free to be manipulated. His conclusion is that one should live how they feel like, even if contradicting themselves. If you hate someone, just cap them, like you would yell at your teammates in League of Legends when losing. Mahito is trying to turn Junpei's attempts to be indifferent to others into being straight up malice, while showing how Mahito is similar to Sukuna in that aspect, with one important variation. Meanwhile, Yuji and Nanami suspect Junpei could be the culprit of the murders, so Yuji goes after Junpei with a fly head with the plan to smoke him out and go from there. Junpei is talking to his pick of a teacher at this moment, who is so clueless he thinks Junpei's worst bullies were his friends. So Junpei is about to snap, but that moment Yuji comes flying in with the fly head and notices Junpei can see it. Yuji takes the teacher out of the picture and they immediately vibe. They go to a beach, and since Junpei recognizes him as a Jujutsu sorcerer, he acts friendly, but doesn't tell Yuji anything about Mahito, which would prove to be a very dangerous mistake. They bond over the shared love for movies, and Junpei tells him about how he's watching horror movies, even though he doesn't really like them, probably as an escape from reality. As Yuji is giving Junpei his contact info, Junpei's MILF mom then shows up and she's surprised Junpei is with a friend, as this is probably the first time this has happened. She invites Yuji over to their house. They have dinner, have fun, and she gets fucked up while Yuji and Junpei are talking. After she falls asleep, they have another important conversation. Junpei asks if Yuji has ever killed anyone, and he answers he hasn't, and he doesn't want to kill anyone either. If he does, the option of killing would come into his life, and the value of life would become ambiguous. Practically the exact opposite of Mahito believes. After this, Yuji leaves, and Junpei is influenced by both. He now believes people have no heart, but that he can't kill anyone because his soul would become stained. Or so he thinks. Unfortunately, after he goes to sleep, his mother wakes up and notices a finger of Sukuna as a mass of curses is getting closer from behind her, putting her from the living into the headlines. Who could have done it? It's definitely not Mahito, trust me. When Junpei wakes up, Mahito lies to him about why the finger was in his house, saying it was paid for by someone who resents him. And as Junpei has no idea how things really work, he assumes it was a rich prick in his school who burned his face with a cigarette so badly that he has scars on his forehead. So he dresses up in all black and starts walking there ready to use his cursed technique that Mahito recently awakened. After Junpei enters the school, Mahito exposes his true motives. He wants to make Yuji and Junpei clash and force Yuji to make a pact that would give Sukuna control while having fun manipulating Junpei. Inside, Junpei has knocked almost everyone out using his poison and he's now interrogating his bully, who doesn't have any idea about what happened. Junpei is throwing him around and says it doesn't matter what he says, as he's only going to lie. At the same time, Itadori Yuji bursts through the door, and as the two are staring, Junpei prepares to fight. Yuji runs in and punches Junpei, but he blocks using his Shikigami, Moondregs, that he used to poison everyone in the school. And very ironically tells him to not underestimate the value of human life, and repeats something Mahito told him. Human emotions, the heart, are just a byproduct of the soul. It's all fake, so I should kill who I want to kill. It's clear Junpei is off the deep end, and it's also clear Yuji wouldn't listen to him. So he powers through the jellyfish and tackles Junpei out of the building as he is immune to poisons thanks to Sukuna. In frustration, Junpei yells out to Yuji why he's getting in the way and attacks him while he's in the air, but fails. Yuji counters his argument with the you're wrong L+ ratio and comes straight at him with a punch, knocking him right back into the building. He then misguidedly tells Junpei if he would say people don't have hearts and do all those things in front of his mother, making Junpei cry. Are you saying people with hearts have cursed me and my mom? I don't care about being right anymore. Now, Yuji figures out something has happened, so he takes the hit from the jellyfish and gets Junpei to tell him his mother was killed. Knowing this, Yuji can now reach Junpei and tells him to join Jujutsu High. Together they could find the one who hurt his mom as Junpei is crying there. At this moment, Mahito appears from behind him as Junpei is now being reached emotionally and the game is over. Mahito pins Yuji to the wall while Junpei yells for him to wait. Yuji tells him to run, but Junpei doesn't and says, Itadori, calm down. Mahito isn't a bad person. Oh shit. At this moment, Junpei knew he fucked up. Mahito places his hand on him and tells him he's actually not much smarter than the people he makes fun of while he's shivering there, and then idle transfiguration. In his vulnerable moment, Junpei placed his trust on the absolute worst person, and now he pays for it. Mahito turns him into an evil Moomin and forces him to attack Yuji. Yuji wants to help him desperately, so he asks Sukuna to turn Junpei back into normal with his healing, but he refuses. And thus Junpei's life slowly withers away as he keeps on trying to attack Yuji with his deformed hands until they fall to the ground and all he can say is, Yuji, why? Bringing his life to a tragic end. The message is clear to me. This is what happens to good kids when they are pushed off the edge. Junpei lies to himself about what humanity is as a coping mechanism, and unfortunately Mahito got to him before good role models could, leading him into a dead end. His story honestly hits pretty close to home to me, as someone who has felt the same pain Junpei does. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, I'm out.